6 weeks, and I want to conclude this series. Look at somebody and say, "Its time is up."
It's time is up.
And your time is now.
Your time is now.
Look at somebody and say, "Its time is up."
Its time is up.
Now, when you say the word "its time," that means you got to fill in the blank somewhere. I don't know what it is, but you got to let it know that its time is up.
Amen.
And your time is now. Now look at somebody and encourage. There you go. Look at somebody and encourage them and tell them its time is up.
Its time is up.
Now look at them and tell them you fill in the blank.
You fill in the blank.
Say, I don't know what your it is, but whatever it is, its time is up. And your time is now.
Right now. Come on now.
I don't know what you've been struggling with. I don't know what's been trying to take you under. I don't know what's been trying to destroy you. I don't know what it is, but I'm telling you today, the benediction to this series is, its time is up, Miss Kim, and your time is now.
Amen.
I'm speaking to sickness. I'm speaking to illness. I'm speaking to your pocketbook. I'm speaking to your bank account. I'm speaking to your baby mama. I'm speaking to your baby daddy. I'm speaking to your supervisor. I'm speaking to your mind, your self-esteem, your spirit, your emotions, everything that's connected to you. I'm telling you, its time is up. It has run its course.
Come on now.
And your time is now. We have been indulging for this last 6 weeks, Deacon Mario, talking about the process. And the process is a point of sequence of events that God then uses to bring us to a place of not only material, but to maturity. We have to understand that the process has been strategically planned by God to give us not only a Genesis, but an Exodus out of what was, and to bring us into a place that is. And we have to understand that the process does not always feel good to the person who is in the midst of it, but it's been used or designed in to bring our minds to a place of peace and not of chaos. You say, you lost your mind, Pastor. How in the world can my process bring my mind to a place of peace and not a mind of chaos? Because I'm thinking about all that could be going wrong in my process. But can I pause here and let you know that your process has been designed in order for you to bring you then to a place of peace and not of chaos. The Bible says that he will give you peace that passes all understanding. What are you saying when you say that, preacher? I'm telling you something like this. You didn't get the peace you needed until you were going through.
Wow. That's right. Come on.
Some of you want to sit here with your faces long and negate the fact that honestly and truly, when you had a whole lot of people around you, it was peaceful. But can I tell you that when everybody left and the only voice you could hear was God, that's when it became peaceful. Can I tell you that everybody's got an opinions, and I tell people all the time that opinions are like noses. Everybody's got one, and some of them you can't pick them to get what you need from it. Look at somebody and say, keep your opinion to yourself. A lot of folk in your process have had an opinion, but you choose to listen to folk that have no merit. You don't listen to folk who have merit, but you listen to folk who don't have any merit. They tell you all the things that if they were in your position, what they would do. But honestly and truly, if they were you, they still wouldn't do nothing. Look at somebody and tell them once and for all, I'm in the process. But today I'm coming out. I'm coming out of my process. Now you got to understand that process has to do with time, and time has two words there that's done in the Greek. The word there, the first word for time is used. The word is called kairos. The word there, kairos, there means an appointment of time, or there means an appointed time or an opportune time. But the second word that most of you probably see on a day-to-day basis at your job is something called called kairos or chronos. The chronos there means it's a sequence of time or a sequence of moments that build me up for an appointed time. Let me come closer to you because you're not getting what I'm saying. You got to understand that everything that you're getting ready to get from God has been set up by sequence. Look at somebody and said it's been all set up by sequence. God has strategically set this thing up sequentially because he wants to bring you to a place of satisfaction. Can I tell you this? The reason why some folk talked about you, some folk laughed at you, some folk tried to give you the shortcut move to bring you from one place to another, and some of you took the bait, some of you took the shortcut, and even you still wind up going or being 10 miles or 10 days away from your promise. But can I tell you that you cannot buck the process, you cannot root the process, you cannot butt in line of the process, but you got to go through. Look at somebody and say you got to go through it. You got to go through the haters. You got to go through all those who are despitefully using you. You got to go through Facebook battles. You got to go through Twitter beats. You got to be laughed at on Instagram. You got to go through all of that. You got to be broke for a while. You got to be poor for a while. You got to be on welfare for a minute. You got to get your car repossessed. You got to lose your house. You got to go through all of that because God is sequentially setting you up for your success. Look at somebody and say, God just set me up. He set me up. That's the reason why I had to be molested as a child. I'm trying to help somebody. That's the reason why I had to go through what I had to go through. That's the reason why I saw mommy kissing Santa Claus. That's the reason why I have so many things that have happened in my life. I had to catch my daddy drunk with another woman. I had to go through all of that to put me in a place so that when God begins to bring forth my blessing, I can receive it and not be cute about it. Look at somebody and say the reason why I got to go through is because it's building my character so that when God bring me out, I don't be cute about it. I can walk around you and still hug and love you, but knowing that I've been through the process. Look at somebody and say just because you're clean don't mean you can't keep some dirt on you. Look at somebody and say just because you arrived don't mean you got to be arrogant. Just because God has blessed you don't mean you got to be bougie. But slap five with somebody and say, neighbor, I come up on the rough side of the mountain. Everything ain't always been a crystal stair for me. Yeah, you think it was easy, but nobody told me the road, I feel him here, would be easy. I don't believe he's brought me this far to leave me. Can you slap five with somebody? Look at him eyeball to eyeball and tell him, baby, don't get cute in this season, because the same way you get cute in this season, God will make you repeat the process over again. Look at somebody and say, I know you just got your bills caught up, but don't get cute, baby, because God will make you go through that wilderness all over again. Just ask Israel. So the Bible, I feel him here. So the Bible says that over in the book of Ecclesiastes, the Ecclesiastes or the Ecclesia was the body of Christ. He says, listen here, I'm talking to the body. Solomon says, he gives this wisdom, and he says, greater is the end of a thing than the beginning. Can I tell you that the reason why some folk can't celebrate your ending is because they're at the beginning, and honestly and truly you do them a disservice when you don't tell them that the end of a thing is closer than what you think. You say, time out. I've been in the storm too long, and I've lost my raincoat, my galoshes, and my umbrella. But the Bible says, he that dwelleth, I feel like preaching, in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadows of the Almighty. What you saying? When everything is gone haywire, God says, I got you covered. Is there anybody in here that's glad that they got the covering of God? That even when I'm out his will, his covering still covers me. Can I preach why I feel it? Look at somebody and say, even when you were out of his will, his covering still covered you. When you were saying things and doing things you ought not have done, God's covering still was covering you. When you was a jump off in a one-night stand, God says, I was still covering you. While you were still out here doing what you wanted to do, God says, I still had you going through the process. I could have started you back over, but I was nice because I realized that you were born in sin and shaped in iniquity, and you just gonna do what you gonna do. But is there anybody here that can lift their hands and say, Lord, I thank you for your grace, because your grace is what kept me when I could not keep myself. Make this thing a little bit clear. I can't hear too good. Look at somebody and say, neighbor, it was God's grace that kept me when I wanted to throw in the towel and quit. Do I got anybody in here that say, you know what, I was getting ready to quit about a week ago, but God stepped in just when I was getting ready to lose my mind, and so this morning I did not come for form or fashion, but I came to lift up my hands and lift my voice and say, yeah, where were you when my eyes were filled with tears? Where were you when I couldn't talk to God and couldn't get to you? But look at somebody and say, God was listening all of the time. So I ain't got time to get cute, because I know what I've been through. You can't judge my praise. You can't judge my worship, because my worship is for real. Look at somebody and say, it may not seem real to you, but baby, it's real to me. And when I get in the presence of God and I give him the glory that's due him, tears start rolling down my face, because I realize that I never should have, let alone could have made it without him. Slap out with somebody. Can I preach, y'all? Slap out with somebody and say, neighbor, I know I don't deserve everything I'm getting from God right now, but I'm so glad it'll be on my faults and it's on my knees. So the Bible says that Solomon gives us this great analogy. He says, listen here, greater is the end of a thing than the beginning. He puts these two theories of kairos and chronos together. He says, listen here, your chronos is that the end is coming, but you gotta make it through the beginning of it to get to the end. Look at somebody and say, God is the only one that knows how it's going to end up, but you gotta play the rest of the movie to see how it's all gonna play out. Then he says, he gives us the chronos. He says, watch this, you got to temper your spirit while you're going through. Now you got to pay close attention to the text, because he says you're already coming out, Miss Michelle, but it's your attitude in the process that's going to propel you faster or slower than the person in the lane next to you. Look at somebody and say, neighbor, I'm so sorry that I grit my teeth at you, that I rolled my eyes at you last week, because I felt as though you were moving through the process faster than me. But when I sit back and think about it, your attitude was a whole lot better. What you told me sitting next to me last week, I would have snapped, crackled, and popped. But you still come back week after week with a praise on your lips. Look at somebody and say, neighbor, if I were to tell you all I was going through, you probably would cry for me. But you better hush up them tears, because I got a David Psalms 34 anointing. I will bless the Lord at all time, and his praises shall continually be in my mouth. He said, oh, magnify the Lord with me. Pull your neighbor and say, neighbor, if you're going to sit next to me, you got to have oh, magnify praise in your lips. I know everything is going crazy in your life, but oh, magnify. I know it don't look like you're going to see the end from the beginning, but oh, magnify. I know it don't seem like it's going to turn out right, but oh, magnify. And when you magnify God, when you make God bigger than your situation, he'll open up the windows of heaven and pour out a blessing. Preach, preacher, that you won't have room enough to receive. Is there anybody in here that's got to oh, magnify the Lord with me in their spirits? Jump to your feet. Take 3 seconds. Throw your hands on your hips. Make your backbone slip. Tell the devil zip his lips and say, Lord, I thank you for everything. Shout yeah! Look at somebody and say, neighbor, I don't know about you, but last time I checked, any day above is a good day. So no, you may not have all you want, but God's just moving you through the process to give you everything you need with your impatient self. That's the reason why you're going through, because you weren't patient before. He's teaching it to you. That's the reason why you're going through, because you wouldn't submit before. He's humbling you. That's the reason why you're going through what you're going through, because you're not disciplined enough. He's strengthening you. Look at somebody and say, he's doing it for me, so I can tell somebody else. Slap five with somebody and say, chill. God's not through with you yet, but when he gets through with me, I shall come forth. Is there anybody in here that says, I'm about ready for God to use me? I'm about ready to come out of the oven. I look good, I smell good, but somebody say, taste me. Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good. Is there anybody in here that's ready to be on the table, that's ready to be cut up and distributed for God's glory? Throw your head back and say, I'm ready. Sit down somewhere. You're making me nervous in here. I'm asking Deacon Mario to pull his pistol out. Sit down somewhere. You're making me nervous. So the Bible shares with us that there's Solomon. He says, listen here. I'm bringing to you a place of chronos, the sequence or the chronological order in which you ought to get yourself together. Because when God turns it and brings you to a place of chronos, or their kairos there, you ain't gonna have time to try to get it right. Look at somebody and say, God's getting ready to turn your AM to your PM, which means that the sun is almost at its highest point, but sooner or later it's going to go down, and you don't want to be caught in the season with your work undone. Slap five with somebody and say, God's getting ready to bring you to your highest point, but you know you had to go through the lowest point in order for you to get to your place of destiny. So Solomon says, get your mind right, get your spirit in check, simmer down a little bit, because you're going 80 in a 40-mile-an-hour zone. Look at somebody and say, you need to take it down a notch. Some of you are going too fast for the process, but you got to kick back and relax and let God work this thing all the way out. Can I talk to somebody who feel it's their time, but baby, it's not your turn yet? He says, humble yourself. How is God going to take you to the nations and you don't respect those who are around you now?
That's right. That's right. Come on now.
You want respect from everybody else, but you respect nobody. You want people to listen to you, but you don't listen to nobody. How in the world you want somebody to read what you wrote, but you don't read what he wrote? Look at somebody, I'm preaching in this house, and say, neighbor, if you want to be the best, then you got to act like the rest, which means you got to humble yourself. Look at somebody and say, you want to go high, then get low. Get low. Slap somebody and say, neighbor, you gotta get low. The devil is a lie. If he gonna make you think, or he got you gassed up like you taking off, but can I tell you, baby, you may be taking off, but you ain't got enough fuel to get to your destination because you ain't gone through the process and you have not exhausted all the possibilities. You got to hear 5 no's before you get 1 yes. You got to have some doors slammed in your face before God can open up some new ones. Slap 5 with somebody and tell them, neighbor, I'm waiting in the wings for God to give me clearance for takeoff. Slap 5 with somebody and say, I'm getting ready to take off, and you can't stop me, because what God has for me, it is for me. Watch this. So he says, get your spirit together.
Come on now.
go through the sequence of events. Somebody said to me, said, Pastor, you about ready to go further than where you are now. I said, am I? Yeah. Because you done dealt with crazy folk right here in your own backyard. So now God will introduce you some more crazy folk that's outside of where you've been touching. Can I tell you, people got to know you here before they know you there. Charity starts at home. People got to be excited about what you're doing here. Before you want to go all around the world, tell them a lie or tell them a story about a story about a story. You've got to understand that God has sequentially put this thing in place to bring you to a place of appreciation.
Come on now.
Then watch this. If you jaywalk then over to the New Testament, Paul picks it up where Solomon left off. Solomon said, temper your spirit. Get your spirit together. And then watch this, Bree. Paul says, don't be weary while you're getting yourself together. For in your due season, somebody say due season.
Due season.
Now watch this. I'm a wordsmith. I studied the word there, due. This is going to get deep real fast. That's why I couldn't hoop out through this part, because it's getting ready to get deep real fast. Look at somebody say, you get ready to go deep. You get ready to go deep. Watch this. Watch this. The word there, due, is then spelled 3 different ways. But it all connects to the text. Okay? The word that due spelled in the text is spelled D-U-E. That due means that it is an expected appointment for a preconceived idea.
All right now.
Okay? So that's due. The story or the book is due, or the book is due to come out 2015. Okay?
All right.
That's due, right? But then you got another due, D-U-D-E-W. That due is when the atmosphere is then, water is then conduced to the atmosphere that sends small, tiny bubbles of water to the surface. That's due. Watch. Then due is D-O. It means the performance of, or the action to. So I says, okay, what do you mean, God, that its time is up and my time is now? He says, the only way that its time is going to be up is that you, the person that's waiting, must do something. So somebody say, you gotta do something.
You gotta do something. You gotta do something.
Watch this. It's not just the D-O.
Come on now.
It's not just the D-O, because technically God is going to do the D-O. You got to D-E-W and D-U-E. God is going to perform when you set the atmosphere for expectation.
Come on now. I know that's right. I know that's right.
Let me help you, because you need some help, so let me bring it all the way to you.
We need help.
Okay, let me bring it all the way to you. If I'm going to produce or reproduce, because it talks about in due season you'll reap if you faint not. So it lets me know that there's a seed being planted.
That's right.
Because there is what is called, there's seed time, harvest time, what is called reciprocity. Okay? So what comes out, what goes in, must come out. So if I'm going to produce, I want you to catch this, and I'm going to leave y'all alone. If you're going to produce, if it's going to be your time, then there must be something in you that expects what you don't see.
That's right. Oh, my. Come on back.
Watch this. So if I'm going to produce, though it's not happening, but I'm saying, though I want to, or I expect that I want to produce a bouncing, beautiful baby girl.
All right now.
If I'm going to produce that, then I must first do something. D-E-W. Watch this. You said, hold on. It's creating an atmosphere conducive to where I am. If the dew is going to fall, I must create an atmosphere. The dew there is water. Water symbolizes life. Life is symbolized to favor. So if I want God's favor to fall, Miss Letty, I must do something that will conduce the atmosphere to fall where I am. Now, if I'm going to produce, if I have DUE, expectation of what I want, I expect when I set this atmosphere of the Isley Brothers, a nice dinner, some candlelight, a nice hot bubble bath, a nice something laying on the bed for her to put on. If I produce an atmosphere,
Go ahead. Come on now.
Yeah.
and I sit in expectation, eventually, I didn't say eventually, I should, Miss Michelle, be able to perform. God help me in here. I should be able to perform up to my expectation. God help me. She preaching with the preacher. I should be able to perform up to my expectation. Can I tell you the reason why some of you, it ain't your time, or you feel like you ain't haven't declared that its time is up and your time is now? It's because you don't expect that God's going to perform up to your expectation. Now unto him that is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all you can ask for things, according to the power that worketh in. When does it start and when does it end, Miss Kim? It starts with me, it ends with him. If God's next move is his best move, I've got to make a move to let God know that I expect what I don't see.
That's right. That's right.
Come on, preacher.
Come on now.
Come on.
I go home on that right there.
That's right.
I've got to show God that I expect something, even though I don't see it. So when I want you to come to me because he inhabits the praise, or he lives amongst the praise of his people, I don't have to be in church to get an atmosphere conducive to what I want God to do. All I've got to do is open my mouth and you come and sit where I am. So his ultimate goal is to impregnate you. God help me through here.
Go ahead, Pastor.
To impregnate you with enough DNA, or then there being enough sense to know that it is your time, and what was living inside of you, time is up. What you saying? That means, God help me through here. God help me through here, y'all. Please, Lord, help me. That means I can't just let anything be around me, speaking to me, or get inside me, because what I'm carrying is conducive to what God's going to perform. So I can't let you talk about what I'm carrying.
That's right.
And I can't let you talk about what I'm carrying that was once carrying me.
Come on now.
One fighting word, one of the biggest things that make a person fight in the hood is you talking about their mama. You want to fight? Talk about mama. You talk about mama. Watch this. You fought then for your mama. Your mama produced you. Then you became someone else's mama. Now you're not going to fight now. They talk about your mama. You're going to fight now. They talk about your kids.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
God have mercy. Why? Because they've already got the respect from you beating them down back in 84 for them talking about your mama. Now, they've got to get the respect all over again because they talked about what you have reproduced. What you saying? What you saying, preacher? I'm not going to let nobody talk about my bread now is buttered and the other side who buttered my bread when I couldn't butter it myself. I'm not going to let nobody talk about God. I ain't going to let nobody talk about my pastor. I ain't going to let nobody talk about my church. I ain't going to let nobody talk about me. Why? Because I am a reflection of all three.
That's right now.
That's just like Adam saying, God destroyed Eve. Huh? I did this for you. And you need to tell me you gonna talk down against it? You were lonely and you needed to help me. You needed evidence that I was God. If he started out as an image in God's mind and then formed to his image and then was put asleep and then another image was made out of the rib of the image that was the image. God help me, I just helped somebody to get.
Yes, sir.
What are you saying? If you want God to produce something for you, you set an atmosphere for him to create. God help me.
Yes.
I make an effort to make an atmosphere conducive for him to create. You want to paint in the paint? Put him in an atmosphere to create. You want your time to be now? You have to get in a place that gives you an opportunity to, I don't know who I'm talking to right now. It gives you an opportunity to create. What are you saying? You can create in a noisy place. Because you know when you put whatever your creativity is to whatever you imagine, it can happen. So somebody says it's going to happen. It's going to happen. That's how you know that your time is now. Because you can create even in an uncreative situation or an uncreative atmosphere. But the moment I call on God, God will then make my atmosphere conducive so that he can perform what I expect from the start.
Yes.
What you saying? Go to court. You go in the case. Just call the lawyer and tell Jesus, listen here. I need you to show me some favor in the courtroom. And you make the courtroom conducive so that God can come down and perform what he do. So somebody said, let God do what he do. You want that business to start? Put God first and watch God make everything that you want come to pass. You want your time to be now? You got to make your atmosphere conducive to where God is and expect him to do it. No, you ain't demanding him to do it. You need to say, God, I expect you to do certain things.
That's right.
If the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, then God, if this is yours, I expect you to do certain. Look at somebody and tell them, I expect God to do certain things. I told somebody, I said, man, because you made a big move, now God will make a big move. Because they were obedient. You can't expect God to put no favor on nothing you do if you're not lining it all the way up. Why God gonna give you $1 million idea or $1 million a year or $1 million whatever, and you don't do right with the dollar he gave you? You're gonna fail. I'm sorry to tell you that, but you're gonna fail. God ain't gonna put no $1 million in your hand. You can't even do right with $100. I can put $1 million in your hand. But when you learn how to line up and you make your atmosphere conducive, you say, Lord, here's $100, and I need to be disciplined enough. You have sequentially set this thing up for me. So now when he give me the $1 million, I won't stop coming to church. I'll beat you to church now. Because I got a reason to give God praise. I had a reason before, but now he's giving me 100 million reasons to give him praise now. Its time is up. Your time is now.